and has been working in the nonprofit endurance field for over 20 years. He's worked with some of the largest running events in the United States, and various cancer foundations do depend heavily on endurance sports races for their fundraising. And I want to say that when all the running races and all endurance sports races were shut down, it was really challenging. All that fundraising turned off. So it's great that races and events are back. He is an ultra runner himself and has been for 44 years. He's competed in and completed hundreds of endurance events, including 95 marathons, 13 Ironman triathlons, many ultra marathons, up to 240 miles. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our next presenter, Ramon Vermo.
Hello. Hola. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
So yes, that's me. And you wonder why a charity person is doing here? You know, more than a charity person, I've been doing this running thing for 45 years. And just like you, first of all, let me see. Raise your hand. Who has done an ultra marathon here? I want to know what kind of audience. All right. Who's thinking of doing an ultra marathon? Crazy people, yeah, love it. All right, who's scared of ultra marathon? No, it's double the distance, triple the fun. So, just to cover very quick, you know, what's an ultra marathon? We know it very quick. I want to open it for questions. So it's longer than 26 miles. You know, most of them happen in trails, but there's plenty on the roads as well. All right. Common distances are approximately 50K, 50 miles, 100K, 100 miles, 200 miles. And I say approximately because it's not like road races that IPR by was short by half a mile, quarter mile. 50 miles could be 55 miles, and it's a 50-mile race, all right? So don't go and complain to race director if you want to do a 50 mile and it's like 53 miles. They're gonna be like, get out of here, all right? And then you also have ultra marathons that are based on times. How much distance you can cover in a specific amount of time. 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 3 hours, depends, right? Just quickly. The difference between, and that's something my own definition, the difference between road running and ultra running is road running mostly is all about time, how fast you can cover the distance. That's why marathons like Chicago, London, Berlin, they sell out really quick because those are the fast courses. They want to do it really fast. Ultra running, the challenge is key. How do you know that? Because the ultra marathons that sell out are the most challenging ones. The ones that are really hard, really challenging, really long, really technical, low elevation, those are the ones that sell out like within minutes. It's like the Boston of the, they sell out in like minutes. So the difference between road running and ultra running is about the chance of completion. That's the chance. Now, you don't need to be fast. You actually don't want to be fast. And I will cover that in a couple of minutes. So the vocabulary, when you talk road running, we talk about pace per mile, the finish time, the medals, GPS watches, yells, blah, blah. We talk a little bit, right? Now, when you get into the ultra running world, the vocabulary is a little more extensive. You have to talk about elevation. You don't say, oh, it's 100 miles. It's 100 miles. What's the elevation? Is it 10,000 feet, 20,000 feet, 40,000 feet? Because, a flat 100 miler and a hilly with elevation 100 miler is going to take you 6-8 hours longer or 10 hours longer, the same distance. Because you have a flat 100 miler, you run most of the time. When you go in elevation, like let's say UTMB, Hard Rock, 30,000 plus feet of elevation, think about going from sea level over Everest. That is going to have an effect on your finishing time. The altitude, you go to Colorado, you're going to run 30,000 feet or above, it's going to definitely have an effect. So you talk about how technical they are. You heard about Jacqueline, how technical they can be. Do you sleep or you don't sleep? Some race like 200 miles is, you need to sleep. It's going to take you anywhere between 3 to 7 days to cover 200 miles. So you need to sleep. Figure out when and how long and all the stuff is part of the preparation for the event. Wildlife, I'm a whip. I look at the races I want to do. There's so many of them I want to do. But when I hear Montana, there's a huge race I want to do. They're beautiful. But when you hear the description of the wildlife, no thank you. Because they say bears, you will see bears. And a black bear in this coast is okay. Brown bears, no thank you. Arizona, snakes. I like to sleep on the side of the road when I get tired in the ultramarathon. Snakes, Arizona, no thank you. So consider that as well, all right? You have to talk about backdrops. You know, in the marathon you have a 26 mile, 13, whatever, aid stations. In ultramarathon you have to think about, you're gonna need stuff and you have to provide it to yourself. You have to, what do you put in each backdrop? You need a crew, you need a pacer. Do you want a crew, do you want a pacer? Because a lot of friendships have been lost in ultramarathons because the pacer or the crew did not do their job and they were fired, never talked to me again. Poles on the poles, you know, the digital poles, do you carry, you don't carry, and if you carry, better practice with them. A lot of people, I see in races, a lot of people have the poles and they don't know how to use them. They actually wasting the energy by not properly using the poles. You have to use a running pack to carry stuff. And what happens a lot of times, we just want everything, and then the running pack goes from 8 pounds to 22 pounds. 100 miles, 22 pounds. 3 times the body weight you joints is going to make you ultramarathon a little more challenging. This mandatory equipment that you have to carry. It's not like just sneakers, matching outfit, look good, camera for the selfies, and we're running. Here, you need to bring, depends on the event, they're going to require that you bring certain equipment, especially if you're going to go from climate that goes from like 80 degrees when you are below and then minus 10 when you are in the mountains. It's a mandatory equipment that you need to buy and spend and make sure that you carry all the time. And then, you know, some events that require a doctor's note. So it's a lot more involved in ultra running because you do spend a lot more time. And also, honestly, when you are out there, in many, you know, all of them, you're going to spend a lot of time alone, overnight. Some of them, I don't know, Jackie, talk about it, hallucinations. We hallucinate overnight. I can tell you, my first 200 miles, I went to the info meeting and say, oh, you're gonna hallucinate overnight. It's like, that's not gonna apply to me. That's probably for the first timers. Oh wow, tell you about it. For me, lucky me, my hallucination was, I was talking to people overnight on the trails. I was seeing people and talking to, what are you doing here? No, there, a few times. But then, you talk to somebody, and this person had a pack of wolves running around them. He was freaking out. So, are you scared yet? Inspired to do an ultramarathon yet? I'm sure you are. I am. So yeah, so it's a lot more involved ultra running. Why ultra? The views. Road running is awesome. That views you don't get in road running. That's just truly in a little race in Italy. Beautiful. Inspirational. That's what most of us do it for the views, for what you get to see that very few people in the world get to see. Very few people get to experience a morning like that. Of course, the cool pictures, that's everywhere. Road running, ultra running, it's about the pictures. Social media, king. And of course, the buckles. You get the medals in road running, you get the buckles in road running, and you can wear them. All right? But the main reason, and you will ask any ultramarathoner, is the community. By far, the community on ultra running, we are all suffering the same, from the lead to the back of the pack. We all suffer. We all are in the same goal of making a difference and helping everybody succeed to cross the finish line. Everybody you will see during an ultra race will support you when you go by. Everybody. Friendships, I can tell you so many, hundreds of friends that I met when I was in my lowest moment in many events, and we support each other, and then misery loves company. We just become best friends. But the community, and I can explain here, but you cannot explain, you have to experience it. We tend to be smaller, a normal size ultramarathon is probably around 200 people, 300 people, depends where it takes place, because limitation on the trails, the permits that they get, blah, blah, blah. So we are more a smaller niche community, and we are there to help each other. That's something that I can guarantee you that you do not experience so much in road running. It's because, again, because it's the chance of finishing. Very few people are going to have a specific goal time to finish an ultra. Everybody's about crossing the finish line. And I don't care how long it takes me as long as I do it. So let's talk about training before we go into questions. Training about ultramarathon, right? Differences. Ultramarathons, you want to train by time. And this is me being a coach. I've been coaching for 25 years. I've coached over 20,000 people, many people the first marathon, many people doing the first ultramarathon or Ironman. So ultra running, you want to train by timing your feet. Because you cannot, if you go here, you're from Boston area, and you're going to run 8 miles, let's just say, takes you 80 minutes, 10-minute mile, 80 minutes. That's going to give you a false sense of accomplishment because you're going to go to the trails or to this hilly ultramarathon, and it's going to take you 80 minutes to cover 2 miles. Because if you do 2 miles and you're going to climb 1,800 feet in 2 miles, that will take the average person to cover 2 miles about an hour. I talk about the average person. The 10-minute mile equivalent to a 30-minute going up per mile going uphill on an ultramarathon. So you have to kind of learn to see the miles go by really slow because they will go really slow. All right? Terrain. You need to work on training the specific terrain. Running in the East Coast, running in the West Coast is very different. It's very technical. We call it the East Coast here because it's very technical on the East Coast. In the West Coast, it's not as technical, but they have those really long uphills. Up here in the East Coast, to be able to find a hill that's like a mile long, a mile and a half long, where I live in the New York area, I had to drive an hour and 15 minutes. And then I go to the West Coast to do an ultramarathon, and this is a 8-mile uphill. You know, you need to make sure that you train for that. I use a treadmill and I have done 24 hours at 50% incline on a treadmill to get used to train for the long climb that you have to do sometimes. So you have to do, it's not just the distance. People train, oh, I want to cover the distance, I want to train 100 miles, I want to run this endurance. You have to make sure that you work for a specific event. Terrain, altitude, elevation, all the fun stuff. Any pace is a good pace. Everybody from the lead to the back of pack will hike at some point. Everybody. If you see, let's say UTMB, probably the most well-known ultramarathon, or at least the most competitive, you see the front runners hiking up those hills because they're steep, they're very long, and you don't want to waste the energy by trying to run them, right? So they hike. Now, a mistake that I made when I was younger, started doing ultramarathons 25 years ago, I was in decent shape, I was a competitive athlete. Running a 7-minute mile, any uphill in the East Coast is like nothing. When I went to my first ultramarathon, I could run every hill because it's just a hill. But I was in country that was 100 miles long. And then, when it was time to start hiking, I suck, excuse my language, as a hiker. I mean, I could keep up with anybody there uphill running, but hiking, I'm talking about 100% of the people will pass me while hiking because I didn't practice the hiking. It's a totally different momentum, a totally different muscle group, a totally different pace that you have to get used to. And everybody here will hike at some point in any ultramarathon, especially if it's a hilly ultramarathon. So you need to make sure that you practice that. Is speed work or not? It's just like in marathon. You can complete a marathon if you just run miles. Now, you want to perform better, doing some speed work will help you to develop the muscles, build the strength, anaerobic capacity, all the fun stuff. If you do ultramarathon at high altitude, your heart rate is going to be through the roof when you get to over 10,000 feet. So you want to make sure that you do some anaerobic workouts to get used to the breathing and get to the rhythm and get into a position. All right? Then you need to practice every part of the ultramarathon. A lot of people, they just run distance and they just want to get fit to complete. But a lot of people that do not complete the event is because they didn't put the attention on the little things that will make a difference. Like nighttime, running during the daytime, running during nighttime, especially if you are alone by yourself and trying to guide yourself with a little light on your head, it's a completely different comfort level, a totally different experience. You need to practice that. You need to get out at night, get a couple of friends, safety first, and use that little headlight to run through some trails, because a lot of people do this and start developing back neck pain, all the fun stuff. You need to practice that stuff. Running pack, as I mentioned before, running with a t-shirt in summer, or running with a backpack with 16 pounds of gear, it's going to be it's going to have an effect on your running. Myself, I had quite a few issues sometimes with my shoulders. And if you do a lot of uphill with the pack, the lower back starts suffering more than road running. So you need to practice that. You need to work on your core as well. Sleep or no sleep. You have to find your strengths. Some people do great with no sleeping. Some people, they need their sleep and they can perform better after taking a 2-hour break. I'm at the type of runner that at my sleep, I can do 48 hours no sleeping at all. Some people need my 2 hours of sleep every 16 hours, and they're gonna be able to recharge and keep up with anybody that did not sleep. So you have to figure out what's your strength. Are you a sleeper that needs to, or are you a non-sleeper that can pull it and still be able to perform properly? Of course, food, and we'll talk about food. We're not talking about the gels. We'll talk about burritos, quesadillas, or burgers. I can tell you, story, truth talk. Tahoe 200. I never in my life have egg benedicts. First time ever I have egg benedicts in the middle of a 200 race in Tahoe. Best egg benedicts in my life. You have to practice. You have to practice eating proper food, because if you're going to do, especially the over 100 miles ratio, you are going to need to teach the body how to process those nutrients. You don't practice, the body's going to go, what the heck? You just put a hamburger in my stomach, what do I do with it? The body needs to be taught how to process that hamburger when you put it in, because on that race in the middle of the night, you see it is awesome, if that's what you're into, all right? So you need to practice all the little things. The gear, what works, what doesn't work. We change clothing in anything that goes probably over 50 miles. Many of us change clothing, change shoes. We have it because the shoes will swell. I have like a size and a half over for the later stages of my ultra marathon when we go over 100 miles, because blisters are the #1 enemy. So you need to practice that. The socks you need to practice. Combination with socks with shoes. There is days what I do. I just go to this trail, 3 miles, and run 3 miles, change shoes and socks. 3 miles, change shoes and socks, and see the combination that works well. Because I hate blisters. And you can prevent that. You're going to be able to move faster. You need to practice everything. The details, there's nothing, and that applies to all running. There is not one thing that makes a big difference. It's all about putting the small things together to get the big difference. That's what training is all about. Even in road running, that applies to road running and ultra running. There's no one thing that you do is going to have a payoff this big. No, it's about doing this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, and then you get the big payoff. All right? I talk about the everybody walks. Love walking. I'm a great hiker, by the way. Now I've been practicing so much. I do, like Henry, we do like 24 hours on the treadmill. Not because I want to get in shape, it's because the head needs to be, you need to get, my training secret, and please do not share, this is just because I like most of you here. My training secret is like, do as much sucking training as you can, because things will suck at one point during the race. If you know what sucking is about, you're going to be able to deal with it. If you don't, that's where people tend to pull out of the races. Don't expect for things to go right all the time. Very few people will everything go right in a lot of ultra marathons. You need to learn and to deal with the discomfort and the suckiness of ultra running, because you will get there. And when you get there, you've been there before, so you know how to deal with it. If you've never been there, you're gonna freak out, and that's why people, oh my God, and they pull out of the race. The good things about ultramarathon that you don't have in road running, in marathon distance, let's say, is that it's so long that you have plenty of time to take care of things now and have time to really things get better. In marathon, things suck at mile 20, you don't have enough real estate to make a difference. Ultra running, you have plenty of real estate to make a difference. If things suck because maybe I'm a lack in energy, sport nutrition, hydration, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the aid station, make sure that I have extra hydrate, eat well, blah, 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 start hiking the next couple miles, allow the body to get all the energy. I'm gonna get a second, third, fourth win in my ultra running. All right, so practice everything. There's no one thing. I think give you one tip. No one thing that will make a difference. It's all the little things that you can work on to make that big positive things. You know, I always tell people, oh, Ramon, you're crazy. And this tend to be road runners. Oh, you're crazy, you do 100 miles, whatever. Like, crazy? Okay, I've been running for 45 years, started running for 40 years. So I did my 5Ks, my 10Ks, my half marathons, my marathons, I eventually move up. You decide, I'm gonna start running tomorrow. I'm gonna do my first marathon. Who's crazier, right? So, yes. Is it smart to go from marathon to 100 miles? No. It's a big difference. It's like running a half in a full. It's very different. Anybody can pull with limited training a half, but not everybody can pull a full marathon, right? Same thing with ultra distance. There's things, not the fitness level, there's a lot of things that happen in the real estate in between. So yes, you need to do, I highly recommend do that 50K eventually, get things eventually, and eventually when you feel comfortable, when you feel that you conquer distance, if that's what you want, you move to the next distance. And then if you decide, I want to be more crazy, move to the next. So yes, do what feels right to you. 50K is an ultra marathon. If that's what you do, that's what you are, go for it, enjoy. It's all about enjoying what you do.
Gracias, Ramon. Now, some people put their hands up when you would ask if they're scared about doing an ultra marathon or something longer than a marathon. Does anyone have any questions, particularly those who put their hands up when they said they were scared? I'm sure you have a question for Ramon. Anyone got a question? No questions? You have a question, madam. Okay, you can ask any question to Ramon.
Have you ever hallucinated during an ultra?
Sorry?
Have you ever hallucinated?
Oh yeah, in my first 200 mile. I celebrate my 50th year by doing my first 200 miler. I did. It was awesome. Because as I mentioned before, I was alone and I did not expect it. Again, I was sitting down there, the race directors talk about hallucinating, and I was like, doesn't apply to me, I have experience. Oh, it did happen. For me, it was fun, but I can tell you for some people it wasn't fun. I remember to catch up to this Australian person, and she was freaking out, saying, are you okay? No, I'm hallucinating. I know I'm moving, but nothing is moving alongside me. And that's not the safest thing to do because we go to some, technical areas, dangerous areas, that's the reality. So she was freaking out because of that. So I did, for me it was awesome because just seeing people just cheering for me, awesome, probably because I have a little bit of an ego. But yeah, it will happen when you go, and some people happens over 100 milers. I would say, Henry, what do you think? I think 60% of the people in the 200 mile race, they do hallucinate.